Hi everybody, there is Alex with you
Sudev.
and we will talk about all image colorization. There are a lot of gorgeous old black and white movies, and despite of the fact that there are more and more new movies, the value of old one does not decrease. And there is also a lot of very famous black and white pictures, and our idea is to automatically colorize them. So our results and motivation mainly and heavily use the last paper about the colorization by Zhan. And we use exactly the same neural network as the paper does. So we have 23 convolutional and no pool layers. And this model is trained by ImageNet using ImageNet images converted to grayscale. And the most common choice of the loss function is the L2 norm. But this function is not as good because it leads to desaturated results because of the average color to be grayish. And that's why the proposal in the paper is to use the cross entropy function because it can better capture the disorder of the given probability distribution. The only problem with that is the desaturated colors appears much more in pictures as a background like sky and wall, and they dominate in this function. And in order to take into account, we will rebalance loss function with the weights based on the color class rarity. Here is some examples of this model trained on the ImageNet, and as you can see, it can do very good on the modern images. There is a result of the same model, but on the old images, and it's do actually good as well, but you can see that the pictures are quite distorted. And then we trained the same model, but on the images from the old movies, and it do actually better. So there is an examples of some pictures of the famous people and how we can color them.
So the next idea we had was to use generative adversarial networks. Essentially, instead of using the fancy loss that Zhang described, the idea is that we could use another network, a discriminator network that could act as the loss function. And we trained the discriminator network to differentiate between real images and images generated by the generator. Isola showed that this does really well on a lot of different things, from taking images of maps and converting them to aerial images of day, converting to night, from edges to handbags to cats, stuff like that. And we basically tried to do it for black and white to color images, which we apply onto a movie, The Manhattan from 1979, which is a black and white movie. And we can see the results of the generative adversarial network on the right. And in comparison to the loss that Zhang uses, we see that the colors are more realistic and tend to be more stable during the video. Future directions and improvements on things we could do is that we could essentially incorporate a temporal loss and keep the difference between frames that are similar lesser. And another thing we could do is to keep the parts of the images that stay the same by essentially calculating the optical flow.
Thank you.
Thank you.